The Platting Board will come to order. It is June 5th and it's 6:30 p.m. May I have roll call, please?
Dan Young.
Present.
Becky Lipson.
Present.
Christina Enix.
Present.
Kevin Cross.
Present.
Mark Seward.
Present.
Valerie Ritz.
Present.
Clayton Walker, Don Porter, and Jana Welton are excused. Thank you.
We have 3 cases tonight. Before we start, on the third case, which is well, let's wait. Let's do the yeah, let's do that. All right. May I have a motion for Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Cross moves, Ms. Enix seconds. Is there any opposition? May we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. Thank you. We'll do that. We'll go through.
Just do it before.
May I have approval of the action summaries, or motion to approve the action summaries? Mr. Cross, Ms. Lipson, any objections? The action summaries are approved. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019? Ms. Ritz and Christine Enix seconds. Are there any objections? The minutes are approved. Next item is disclosures, special order business disclosures. Are there any disclosures tonight? Ms. Lipson.
Thank you. In case S12480, I'm requesting to be excused for a conflict of interest as my law firm has performed services directly related to this subdivision action, and I have knowledge, so I would ask to be excused.
Thank you. May I have a positive motion directing Ms. Lipson to participate? Let's start over. May I have a positive motion, please? Mr. Seward and Valerie Ritz seconds. Mr. Seward, will you speak to your motion, please?
In case S12480, I move to direct Becky Lipson to participate in this case.
Thank you. And is there any discussion? We will vote. A positive vote directs Ms. Lipson to participate. A negative vote directs her to be recused.
Through the chair. Becky, I missed the end of your, what is your affiliation with the
Sorry,
petitioner?
It's a client of the firm, and I've performed services on behalf of this subdivision, so I would say I have a financial motivation.
Oh, thank you. That's what I thought you said. Thank you.
And that motion fails. Ms. Lipson, you're directed to be recused for the third case tonight. Thank you. Are there any other disclosures tonight? or we have informational items on the table, or does anybody wish to discuss the informational items? We have no consent agenda. That brings us to public hearings. And before we begin, I want to address to the petitioner and the petitioner's representative for case S1240 or 480, Michael Quinn Construction, Inc. is the petitioner. And we have a short board tonight, so there will only be 5 of us here. You have an opportunity to stay and have us hear the case. It would require a unanimous decision, or you can have this postponed till the next available month at no financial penalty to you as far as the municipal fees go. What would you like to do?
Hi, I'm Mike Quinn. I'm the petitioner, and I'd like to go forward tonight.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We will. So we're opening the public hearings. The first case is oh, man, I need glasses. Oh, thank you. The Platting Board meets each month on the first and third Wednesday, except holidays, as regular meetings. If the Platting Board fails to complete the agenda for its regular meetings, the board carries over the remainder of the agenda to the following meeting. The procedures by which the public may speak to the Platting Board at this meeting is, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. Persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the commission rules of procedures. Petitioners, including all his/her representatives, have 10 minutes. Part of this time may be reserved for rebuttal. And any time that you don't use will also be reserved for rebuttal. If you wish to reserve it in advance, let us know. Representatives of groups, community councils, PTAs, etc. have 5 minutes. Individuals wishing to testify have 3 minutes. When your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the board. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the board. Any individual may have appeal rights relating to the actions of the Platting Board. Appeal of this decision or any of the conditions is governed by AMC 21.11.304. The decision of the Platting Board at the scheduled hearing shall become final 7 calendar days after the date the decision is made on the record, unless a written request is submitted to the Planning Division prior to the expiration of the 7th day to prepare a written decision based upon the record made at the hearing, and the request is accompanied by a written notice of intent to appeal. Adoption of the written decision by the Platting Board becomes the final appealable decision. Within 20 days of the final appealable decision, an interested party must file with the municipal clerk either a written motion alleging new evidence or changed circumstances per AMC 21.11.503, or an appeal of the board's final appealable decision per AMC 21.30. With that, we will open the public hearing, and the first case is S12474, Highland Subdivision, Block 1, Lot 8A, and Blocks 2, Lot 1A. May we have staff's presentation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a request to subdivide 7 lots into 2 lots with vacation of a 60-foot right-of-way for Highland Park Avenue. This request is being made to consolidate the lots for proposed Lot 1A and 8A to combine half of the vacated right-of-way to each lot and Lot 1A is operating their current boat repair storage operation, while Lot 8A is being created for future parking with the associated commercial building. No reviewing agencies had objections to the proposed vacation. 113 public hearing notices were mailed on April 5th, 2019. No public comments were received, and the Old Seward Ocean View Community Council did not comment. For road improvements and dedication, Old Seward Highway is classified as a Class 3 major arterial in the official Streets and Highways Plan. It's currently dedicated to a width of 100 feet, and this conforms to the OSH&P plan. In the matter of the vacation request, the petitioner has requested vacation of Highland Park Avenue, a 60-foot by 150-foot right-of-way. The criteria must be considered in any vacation of rights-of-way in the form of 6 standards. Staff has found that 1 through 6 have been met, and condition 1 has been met. The right-of-way has not been utilized since it was platted in 1952. The steep topography of the right-of-way precludes development. Condition 2 has been met. The right-of-way is not part of the official Streets and Highways Plan. Condition 3, as demonstrated by agency review, the right-of-way is in excess of municipal need because it is surrounded by property that is accessed from other rights-of-way. There is a topographic grade distance of over 20 feet for this short section of right-of-way, which would result in an average road grade of 13%, which would not meet municipal standards. Condition 4 has been met. The section of right-of-way does not facilitate in connectivity to the abutting alley or the Old Seward Highway. It's not needed for any existing planned public streets or infrastructure. The vacation will not have any impact on traffic circulation, as the alley already provides adequate access. Condition number 6 has been met. This vacation will not result in realignment of any existing right-of-way, and agencies have expressed no objection to the request to vacate the right-of-way for Highland Park Avenue. Therefore, staff believes that the right-of-way is in excess of municipal need and recommends approval of the vacation subject to the conditions found on page 8 of your staff packet, A1, and approval of the plat for 24 months, conditions B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the staff packet. You have in front of you, laid on the table, is a letter from the state of Alaska, and it's between the surveyor has contacted DOT to discuss one of the conditions 4 on page 9 of the staff packet regarding water extension, and DOT is saying they would prefer not to have the Seward Highway cut open at this time to do that extension. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and the surveyors here as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? I hear and see none, so we will have the petitioner or the petitioner's representative, and would you state your name for the record, spell your last name, and let us know if you'd like to reserve time for rebuttal.
My name is Jonathan Lang, L-A-N-G, and yes, I would like to reserve my time at the end. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, staff, and the attending public. I'm Jonathan Lang, professional land surveyor with Lang & Associates Incorporated, and I am the petitioner's representative this evening. As staff noted in their presentation, this plat is a reversion to acreage, combining 9 lots into 2 lots with a vacation of otherwise unusable right-of-way previously dedicated as Highland Park Avenue. We agree with the planning staff recommendations with the following exceptions. Recommendation B3 resolves service connection issues with AWW planning, and recommendation B4 enter into a mainline extension agreement to fully front lot 1A with water main. Construction of approximately 75 feet of water main would be a financial burden on the property owners and would serve no purpose. The water main extension would not serve the proposed subdivision, and the adjacent landowners to the south are served by a well. There's also a problem with competing jurisdictions. While AWW may want us to extend the water main and remove the water services, as you've heard from staff, the state of Alaska is not likely to allow it. In the letter that you were given earlier, which you may not have had a chance to read, DOT staff said they would only consider the proposed utility extension or the removal of the water services in conjunction with an AWW capital project or concurrent with a DOT capital project. We respectfully request approval of the plat with the requested vacations to include the notes and conditions proposed by staff, but removing recommendations B3 and B4. Thank you, and I respectfully reserve any remaining time for rebuttal.
Thank you. You have 8 minutes and 30 seconds for rebuttal. Are there any questions of the petitioner's representative? Guess not. Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any, this is last opportunity, questions of the petitioner's representative or questions of staff, or I'm going to close the public meeting. Mr. Seward?
Through the chair to staff, what's the best way to resolve this? If we leave it as worded, resolve this AWW connect and water line, they're still going to be running into the same situation. It has to be resolved. How do we make it doable by amending these possibly 3 and 4?
Through the chair, Mr. Seward. So 3 and 4, if those are resolve comments, that would be a resolve between Anchorage Water and Wastewater Utility, the petitioner, and the state of Alaska. I do note on there that the state of Alaska did say they would favor having this work done in conjunction, but they didn't outright say that it wouldn't be allowed. The Platting Board is not, there's no variance. It would be between AWU and the state and the petitioner as far as tariff. That it basically it's outlined in tariff that they have to do the mainline extension.
That could still, I mean, have you run into this before with the state? I mean, if they're adamant on their view, it's a stalemate. It may not be a board, a vacation, or whatever. But what would be the resolution to this?
Have you run into it? Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Through the chair, Mr. Seward, on occasion these types of differences do come up, and by placing the resolve comments on each one of these conditions, it allows the petitioner, the water and sewer utility, and the state to sit down and negotiate an appropriate solution to it. AWU is making this comment because it's a requirement of their tariff. They are required to extend the main fully fronting the lot, and that is part of their tariff. It's a comment that we commonly see. Obviously, DOT does not want to see the sewer highway cut, but it's something for AWU and the petitioner and DOT to resolve. So by placing, and staff is willing to accept resolve comments for both 3 and 4, by placing that resolve, we have the ability to work it out with the state, with AWU, and should the two parties agree that the mainline extension not be required, we have the ability to approve it and say that condition has been met.
Okay, thank you. Maybe an extended question to the petitioner's representative. On item 4, would that satisfy you and your client if that, instead of entering into a mainline, if that was to resolve a mainline extension agreement?
Yes, that would be acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks through the chair to staff. I had the same question as Mr. Seward. Is there a reason why staff didn't put resolve language with the 4th requirement?
Through the chair, Ms. Lipson, it's just that's the standard condition that we place on these plats that comes from AWW. It's not usually a resolve. It's just that therefore they'll have to enter into a mainline extension agreement. The resolve service connection issues is another standard one that we put.
Okay. Do you, as a follow-up question, is there any detriment, any reason why you wouldn't want to see resolve language for this 4th recommendation?
No, it allows the petitioner to work with AWW in the state and get it resolved.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lang, would you like to use any of your 8 minutes and 30 seconds? He's indicating no. With that, we close the public hearing, and the matter now rests with the board. In this case, may I have a positive motion? Mr. Cross. Mr. Cross, will you state your motion, please?
In case S12474, Highland Subdivisions, lots 1A and 8A, I move for approval of the request for a vacation or elimination of Highland Park Avenue subject to Condition 1. Record a suitable plat within 24 months of approval and any approved time extensions.
Thank you. And Ms. Ritz seconds. Mr. Cross, will you speak to your motion, please?
It's pretty well established that the current existence of Highland Park right-of-way it's useless at this point. It's undevelopable to the west to where it connects to Highland Subdivision, plot 2002-56. I want to make sure that we note on page 6 under staff analysis that no reviewing agencies had any objections to the proposed vacation, and 113 public notice hearings were mailed out on April 5th, 2019. No public comments were received.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Are there any findings with respect to the vacation request? I intend to support this motion, and I find that the requirements for the vacation have been discussed by staff. Items 1, 2, 3 through 6 have all been approved. This is surplus. It's clearly in excess of all future needs. And since these have been met, I intend to support my motion. Are there any other comments? Is there any opposition to the motion? Now's your chance. Hearing and seeing none, the motion carries. May I have a positive motion for approval of the plat approval, item B. Thank you. Mr. Seward. Mr. Seward, will you state your motion, please?
In case 12474 Highland Subdivision, I would recommend approval of the plat for 24 months subject to the following conditions: 1, 2, 2A, 2B, 3, and 4 with a friendly amendment of resolve a mainline extension agreement to fully front Lot 1A with water main, 5 and 5A, and 5AI.
Thank you. And Mr. Cross seconds. Mr. Seward, would you speak to your motion?
The same conditions has been no lack of objections. The public's had really no response. The issues can be resolved with the AWWU, and I intend to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other findings or comments? Is there any opposition to this motion? Seeing none, hearing none, this motion passes. The next item on our agenda is case S12483, lots 9A, 10B, Block 1, Commercial Park Subdivision. May we have staff's presentation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request to subdivide 7 lots into 2 lots with vacation of a 10-foot right-of-way on the east side of lots 5 through 7, a 20-foot right-of-way between lots 8, 9, and 10A, and a 10-foot right-of-way on the north side of lots 10A and 11A. This request is being made to consolidate the lots with the associated right-of-way for proposed lots 9A and Lot 10B in association with future development anticipated on these lots. 263 public hearing notices were mailed on April 16, 2019. No public comments received, and the Midtown Community Council did not comment. The petition site is located south of East 40th, east of Fairbanks, and west of Old Seward. It's currently utilized as the Brown Jug Warehouse and a vacant lot. The property is Zone B3 General Business District, and each proposed lot meets the minimum lot size and width required by the B3 zoning district. For road improvements and dedication, so Old Seward Highway is classified as a Class 3 major arterial with a minimum right-of-way width of 100 feet. Old Seward Highway is currently dedicated to a width of 80 feet. However, Plat 78-165 dedicated 50 feet of right-of-way, which is compliant with the requirements of AMC 2108-04A2, and no further dedication is required for the subject property. There's still 30 feet on the other side of the other property that would be subject to dedication. The preliminary plat shows 50 feet of right-of-way to be vacated along the eastern boundary of Lot 11A. Through research, this has been found to have been vacated by the previous platting action of S 4636, which is corresponding plat 78-165, and is correctly shown on the recorded plat. There's also an Assembly Ordinance 78-106, which is attached to the staff packet in the historical section, and staff has requested removal of the hatched area of right-of-way to be vacated as a drafting correction as a condition of approval of this plat, because that's already been vacated by a previous platting action. No improvements to Fairbanks Street or East 42nd Avenue shall be required at this time. The petitioner is alerted that they may be required to make improvements to East 42nd Avenue at the time of building on that property. The petitioner has worked with the traffic department to dedicate a 20-foot alley that will provide a connection to the remaining 10-foot alley right-of-way that exists along lots 1 through 4. Dedicating an alley right-of-way will connect the existing alley from East 40th out to Fairbanks Street. And per AMC 2108-04B, the minimum width of an alley right-of-way shall be 20 feet. That's why staff has requested the dedication of a 20-foot alley as a condition of approval. In the matter of the vacation request, the petitioner has requested to vacate basically all those 10-foot alleys that are within their subject property. The proposed subdivision incorporates that right-of-way into the 2 lots while dedicating a 20-foot alley to the north property boundary of proposed Lot 9A. That'll provide that connection out between Fairbanks and East 40th. So the following criteria must be considered in right-of-way vacation. Once again, 1 through 6 standards. Staff has found that all standards have been met. Standard 1, no property will be denied access by the vacation. The remaining lots and proposed lots are served by Fairbanks Street, East 40th, and East 42nd Avenue. Condition 2 has been met. The requested right-of-ways are not part of the official streets and highways plan. Condition 3 has been met. The right-of-way does not lie on a half-mile grid nor a quarter-mile grid, which is condition 4. Condition 5 has been met. The vacation will not have any impact on traffic circulation and is not part of the official streets and highways plan. So that existing street network and dedication of that 20-foot alley will connect, it'll provide adequate access to all existing lots in the area. Condition 6, the vacation will not result in a realignment of any existing right-of-way and does not impact existing traffic circulation. So as I stated, the petitioner, they worked with the adjacent landowner and the traffic department to come up with that 20-foot alley connection to prevent a dead-end alley. Agencies have expressed no objection to the request to vacate the right-of-way, and staff believes that the right-of-ways are therefore in excess of municipal need, and we recommend approval of the vacation subject to condition A1 found on page 9 of the staff packet, and approval of the plat conditions B1 through 4 found on the staff packet as well. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the petitioner's representative is here as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? Hearing and seeing none, may we have the presenter, the petitioner's representative. Would you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
My name is Melissa Branch, B-R-A-N-C-H, with Big City Engineers, and I'm the petitioner's representative. We have been working with staff on this. We have no objection to the conditions as they stand. We're available to answer any questions.
Thank you. You have 9 minutes and 52 seconds for rebuttal. Are there any questions for the petitioner's representative tonight? Are there any questions of staff? Would you like to use any of your rebuttal time? She's
Thank you.
indicating no. I'm going to close. Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify tonight? With hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. The matter now will rest with the board. May I have a positive motion for approval? Mr. Cross, would you state your motion, please?
In the case of S12481, Commercial Park Subdivision, lots 9A and 10B, I move to approve the request for vacation or elimination of a 10-foot right-of-way on the east side of lots 5 through 7 and a 20-foot right-of-way between lots 8, 9, and 10A, and a 10-foot right-of-way of the north side of lots 10A and 11A, subject to condition 1.
Thank you. Ms. Enoch seconds. Mr. Cross, will you speak to your motion, please?
Yes, strikingly similar to the previous petition that we had. We'll note that staff analysis on page 6, no reviewing agencies had any objections to proposed vacation. 263 public hearing notices were mailed out on April 16th, and no public comments were received. As far as the vacation requests, there are 6 standards to be met, and all 6 are met, and those are found on pages 7 through 8 of staff packet.
Thank you. Are there any comments? Any other findings? Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, this motion passes. May I have another motion for approval for the plat for 24 months, subject to conditions? Mr. Cross. Mr. Cross, will you state your motion, please?
Yes, again, in the case of S12481, Commercial Park Subdivisions, lots 9A and 10B, move to approve the plat for 24 months, subject to the following conditions. Conditions 1, 2, 2A and B, 3, 4, 4A, section 1, 2, and 3. And that's all.
Thank you. And Ms. Enoch seconds. Mr. Cross, will you speak to your motion?
Just reiterate the findings found in approval of the previous motion.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? I'll make a comment that the petitioner's representative agreed to these as well. Is there any objection to this motion? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes. Ms. Lipson is recusing herself and leaving the room. The next case is case S12480. May we have staff's presentation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a variance for Brendel Creek subdivision. It's a variance from AMC 2108050G, which is curbs and gutters. The requirement to provide type 1 vertical curb, variance to provide type 2 roll curb. So on October 3rd, 2018, the Platting Board heard a preliminary plat of one tract into 30 lots with a request for a variance for cul-de-sacs to exceed 600 feet in length for a cul-de-sac that measured approximately 1,230 feet. A decision on the case for approval was granted for the plat and the variance to cul-de-sac length. So this request, the petitioner before the board is requesting this variance from 2108-050G curbs and gutters, which requires the type 1 vertical curb. The petitioner states that the variance is being requested to accommodate the topography for the subdivision, which could result in steep driveway curb cut ramps. The proposed road grades for the subdivision are up to 10%, the maximum, and would result in sidewalk transitions of 12.8%. Granting of the variance would result in a more user-friendly geometry option for development of the road and sidewalk design. In the matters of approval criteria for a subdivision variance, the applicant substantially needs to meet the following standards, which is A, B, C, and D. Standard A, there are special circumstances or conditions affecting the property. That's condition A. Staff believes that standard has been met. The existing subdivision is not typical for a subdivision within a Class A urban area. The topography within the subdivision is steep. The lots are large and have an unusually large street frontage. The proposed road grades for the subdivision are up to the 10% maximum allowed per municipal code. Designing the sidewalk and associated curb cuts on a steep road is an engineering challenge without predetermining the location of each driveway. The petitioner has stated predetermining those locations is undesirable due to the lack of options the homeowner will have in home placement and the driveway location. The home buyer would then have to cut and replace approximately 33 to 49 feet of curb, gutter, and sidewalk for a new driveway location. Having to cut and replace sidewalk, curb, and gutter is undesirable to the general public and places future road maintenance issues on the municipality due to the multiple joints in the asphalt. Standard B, staff has found that that condition is met. The granting of this variance will not adversely affect public welfare. It will allow for a design that would reduce the sidewalk grade transitions that could be detrimental to users. The safe sidewalk design proposed is the rolled curb design. This allows for pedestrian-friendly sidewalk transitions that are not as steep in grade and greater flexibility in design placement of structures on the lot. Standard C, staff feels that condition is met. The concern about residents illegally widening their driveways and increasing the vehicle-pedestrian conflict is mitigated by the length of frontage for each lot, which is larger than your standard narrow urban lot. Pedestrians, they'll be able to enjoy longer sections of sidewalk without curb cuts due to that larger lot frontage. Condition D, staff feels condition D has been met for undue hardship. It would result from a strict compliance within the subdivision regulations. It would add additional costs to the developer and ultimately the home buyers. So the unusual geometry and topography of the property requires steep 12.8% sidewalk ramps throughout the subdivision due to the existing topography. While this is not a hardship, it is undesirable for ADA accessibility and pedestrian use. The estimated cost to relocate a driveway, if needed, due to siding of the house after the road is built, is estimated at $7,700 per driveway. Additionally, Eagle River Street Maintenance has made comment that it would have future increased maintenance costs due to the additional seams in the road section due to the placement of driveway curb cuts. The recommendation by staff, with the exception of the traffic department's concerns for pedestrian safety, which were addressed in Standard A, reviewing agencies had either no comment or no objection to the variance requests. Private development commented that the topography within the subdivision is steep and not typical of an urban area. The lots do have a long street frontage, which mitigates that concern for vehicle-pedestrian conflicts from illegally widening their driveways, and pedestrians would enjoy longer sections of sidewalks without a steep curb cut due to the lot frontage size. In granting of the variance mitigates some of those concerns about pedestrian safety due to the design of this subdivision. Therefore, planning recommends approval of the variance from AMC 2108-05G, which is curbs and gutters, that variance from the requirement to provide type 1 vertical curb to allow for type 2 rolled curb, subject to the condition 1 found on page 5 of the staff packet. I can answer any questions, and the petitioner is here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? None at all. We'll now open the public hearing. May we have the petitioner or the petitioner's representative state your name, spell your last name for us, and let us know if you'd like to
Good
reserve.
evening. Yeah, my name is Mike Quinn, Quinn. And I think in light of staff's recommendation and some of the history that you've gone through with this variance request, I think I'll just save my time for any questions at the end.
Thank you. The questions are free. It's your rebuttal time. You have 9 minutes and 52 seconds if you wish to rebut anything tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone or are there any questions of the petitioner? Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to testify tonight? I hear and see none. Would you like to, any questions of the petitioner or staff? Would you like to use any of your rebuttal time? He's indicating no and stating no. With that, we close the public hearing. The matter now rests with the board. May I have a positive motion for approval, please? And Mr. Cross, would you state your motion, Mr. Cross?
In the case of S12480 Brindle Creek subdivision, I seek to provide the petitioner a variance from AMC 21.08.050G curbs and gutters, the requirement to provide type 1 vertical curb and gutter to roll type 2 rolled curb.
Thank you. And Ms. Ritz seconds. Would you speak to your motion, Mr. Cross?
Yes, there are four criteria met for the variance, which we have met. Those are found on staff packets 3 and 4. I'd also like to point out this is a very common request, and the Platting Board has a long history of providing this variance in very similar situations. Perhaps in the future we'll see a alteration from Title 21 to deal with this, because it seems to be a regular occurring event dealing specifically with the Eagle River area and the topography. But I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Seward.
Through the chair, also noted the community council looked at this and approved the resolution, and along with the lack of public comment or the approval of public comment there and the non-objections of it, I intend to support this motion too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? I have one on page number 39 is a public comment. So we had one public comment from Mr. John Eastman, and his comment was more of a question that seemed irrelevant to the decision that we're going to make tonight. So I intend to support this motion. All right. Is there any objection to this motion? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes. Any individual may have appeal rights relating to any action that the Platting Board takes. Appeal of this decision or any of the conditions is governed by AMC 21.11.364. The decision of the board at the scheduled public hearing shall become final 7 calendar days after the date the decision is made on the record, unless a written request is submitted to the planning department prior to the expiration of the 7th day to prepare a written decision based upon the record made at the hearing, and the request is accompanied by a written request of intent to appeal. Adoption of the written decision by the Platting Board becomes the final appealable decision. Within 20 days of the final appealable decision, an interested party must file with the municipal clerk either a written motion alleging new evidence or changed circumstances per AMC 21.11.503, or an appeal of the board's final appealable decision per AMC 21.30. Want to have her come back in? May we have somebody get Ms. Lipson and allow her to come back in? We got it.
Yeah, I
She's
believe-
coming. And that's okay. And Ms. Lipson's back in the meeting. The next item on the agenda is persons to be heard. I don't believe there are any tonight. There are no reports tonight. Are there any board comments? May we have from the secretary? May we have information about next month's meeting?
I believe through the chair, I believe Corliss sent out a doodle on you guys for July 3rd, but from what I've heard tonight, Valerie's the only one here so far. Will you be here July 3rd? And Dan here will be at July 3rd. I don't know about Clayton or Dawn or Jana, but so far there are 4 not coming July 3rd. We'll find out this week. He won't be back till the 17th. Okay. Otherwise, there's, I think, 3 or 4 cases on next month's agenda.
Should we schedule for a different day? Or is that to be determined?
Through staff and the chair, wouldn't it be better to just go ahead and reschedule and not, just in case, or?
How many confirmed do we have for the 3rd?
2.
2?
I don't know.
And how many have we heard from?
I don't know what Corliss has heard from the others, but there are 4 here that are not coming on the 3rd.
Oh,
So there are 3 not here that I don't know about for sure.
okay.
So that'd be-
Let's talk tomorrow, and then we will send out an official rescheduling if we deem that there's not going to be enough
Thank you.
to actually or have a quorum.
There was a questionnaire sent out, but we don't know the results of that.
Right, and we'll check on that tomorrow. I think, as Mr. Cross pointed out, Clayton will be back on the 17th. Regardless of what he may say, whether he's going to be here or not, it sounds like we either are going to have a short board or a lack of quorum. So we'll look into it. If we have a quorum, we'd like to hold it. If not, then we'll go ahead and reschedule.
Thank you. Any other board member comments? May I have a motion for adjournment? Ms. Enix, Mr. Cross, seconds. We are now adjourned.